Welcome to Too Deep, Hokies Under the Influence. And it is Virginia Tech. This isn't some rinky-dink-ass program.
Come on, JC.
We're going to put this old guy in the grade. We'll go over some of the stats for the nerds.
It's the percent.
11.
It's an 11 game.
Welcome to Too Deep, Hokies Under the Influence, a Sons of Saturday podcast brought to you by Jack and Coke. I'm your host, Pete B. I've got my co-host, Sam Jesse, who is looking quite relaxed right now. How you doing, bud?
It's the bye week. It's comfy week. You got the beanbag chair behind you. I have a little setup here. Fire going. The cornucopia above me. Dude, I'm feeling good. Got my chamomile tea right here. I'm not drinking this week, unfortunately, but chamomile tea in the Bigfoot mug. If you can see that on YouTube, please watch us on YouTube. We have a really cool setup.
Yeah, that's right. I was taking it chill on the last bye week. Sam's doing it this bye week, and I do have a beer. It looks like a glass of orange juice, but I'm excited about it. Haven't had this one before.
Why don't you kick us
off with cheers, Sammy?
Just so everyone knows that I'm really craving a beer tonight, but I'm staying strong. So let me grab my chamomile tea here. My cheers is to Maction. That is going on right now as we record on this Wednesday night. We had a really great game between Ohio and Miami last night. That was great. The Bobcats pulling out the late victory. Happy holiday season to all. May your days be merry and bright.
Cheers. I spilled beer on my notes. Thank you for that, Sam. We are getting closer and closer to holiday season. I know sometimes right after Halloween, people put the Christmas lights up, and we got a couple in my neighborhood already, but I do love that beautiful cornucopia behind you.
You take advantage of the fall season. I don't like the flip from Halloween to Christmas. It's too much. You don't make fall the shortest season.
Embrace fall rules. Fall is awesome.
Yeah.
Tonight, we're going to get to the voicemails. We're going to do some stats and final takeaways from Louisville. We're going to do a little review on the CFP rankings, which came out last night. James Franklin, still not a Hokie. We will get to that in just a minute. Just an update. It's not going to be long, but we have to update you. And then basketball. We are going to talk about the opening game for the men's team and the women's team a little bit later in the show. So for now, make sure you like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or if you want to get our pod feeds, Apple Podcast, it's the Too Deep feed, or on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Rate, review, and subscribe for us. You can see the overlay is a little bit different. We've got our typical logo, our Too Deep logo with the two beers in the state of Virginia in the center of the screen. But the Tech Till We Die shirts are available at the swvashop.com. We got hoodies and tees. I know Sam already put in an order. I'm actually putting in a big order today to get some up my way, because I don't even have the shirt yet, but I'm excited about it.
I'm very excited for it. Very, very excited. It's I'll tell you this, one of my favorite designs under the Sons of Saturday umbrella we've ever had in the past 6 years.
And you can look at all the designs on the Southwest VA shop. If you go to the Sons of Saturday, like you do the drop down, Sons of Saturday is one of the choices. Our stuff will come up there, and all the Sons former designs are up there that you can purchase. Pick'em leaders, Zach Osman still rolling 60-40. Trav D 33 has 59 wins. He's just one game behind Zach. And I'm at 58 wins with, I think, one other person. 58-42 is my record. I went 5-5 last week. So cooled off, but still in the hunt for the pick'em. CFP Monday is already in your feed. We did some Hugh Freeze talk. We did all the recap of this past weekend. We talked a bunch about James Franklin and VT Corner and the Louisville game. Tonight, we'll get to a little bit more on both. CFP rankings. Let's do this, Sam.
Let's do this.
Let me pull this down, put this up. These are the initial college football playoff rankings. The top 4 or 5 were pretty much what you'd expect. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Bama, and Georgia, 1 through 5. Then Ole Miss comes in at 6, and then 2 Big 12 teams back-to-back. BYU at 7, Texas Tech at 8, and they're both ahead of Oregon. Do you agree with that?
I think right now, yes. BYU undefeated, right? So that carries a ton of weight. And then Texas Tech, your loss is at Arizona State, which doesn't look phenomenal, but you also had your backup quarterback in that game. And that win against Utah on the road looks phenomenal right now because the Utes are sitting at 13. Texas Tech also has a couple other solid wins in there as well, and they've been dominant. So it makes sense to me. Oregon, a big chance this week to do some jumping. They'll play at number 20, Iowa.
Yeah. And then you got Notre Dame at number 10. And then Texas, Oklahoma, Utah, 11, 12, and 13. So they honor the Red River. They give it, 11 and 12 respectively for two teams with two losses. Utah. So you get 3 Big 12 teams before you get an ACC team because
Well, I'll tell you,
UVA comes in at 14.
what's so interesting about this to me and with Utah is, I mean, they're playing phenomenal football right now. They're beating the crap out of everybody. But also, they're kind of in a position where they're out of the Big 12 race, barring a complete catastrophe from BYU and Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And we're running out of games for there to be a complete catastrophe. And I don't think
left.
the Big 12 is getting 3 teams in. And so they're ranking them 13th, but like there's almost no shot for them to get into the playoff, I don't think.
The
Like,
shot
it's a very, very slim opportunity. I guess if they were to go 10-2 and be really dominant and all the cards fall, like they could get in over the team that lost in the championship game, but they don't normally do that.
It's
So,
Notre Dame, man. That's how they
yeah.
get in. They need Notre Dame to lose. They need to win out. They need Texas Tech and BYU to be as good as possible. And there's like this outside chance that Utah could get in at 10-2. The other route is that you hope BYU just collapses down the stretch and loses their
Mhm.
last 3 games. Then Utah can get into the championship, whatever. There's
Utah
a scenario, but it's unlikely.
Utah needs one of BYU or Texas Tech to lose out in order to get to the Big 12 title game.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
No, probably not. So it would be an at-large, which would be challenging. Let's talk about the ACC. So you got UVA at 14, Louisville at 15, Georgia Tech at 17, that's tough for Georgia Tech, man. They've got one loss and they're sitting all the way down at 17. Miami with 2 losses at 18. And then we also get Pitt in there at number 24. So there are 5 ACC teams that got ranked in this thing, but none of which were in the top 13. However, let's go to the bracket. We've got Memphis getting in as the G6. They're not ranked in the top 25, but they are, according to the committee, the highest ranked G6 team, although we can't see what those rankings are because it's beyond 25. Very strange, but that's what's going on here. Memphis has a chance to hop into the rankings if they beat Tulane. That would be my estimation. You'll see UVA at number 11 because they, in this scenario, would be the ACC champ and they would get an automatic berth and they'd be at number 11 to play Ole Miss. So the scenarios in the ACC are convoluted because I don't think like the door is completely closed on getting 2 teams, but the fact that they put Miami, who has the same record as Notre Dame, 8 spots behind Notre Dame is pretty jarring in my opinion.
I would agree with that. I think having Miami 15th, 14th makes sense. I think one of the issues that they ran into is you're ranking teams now on November 4th, and Miami just hasn't looked that good. They're 2 of their last 3 games they've lost, and they've looked like they had turnover issues in both of those games, and one of them to an unranked SMU team. The other one was at home. So Miami's not doing themselves any favor. And similar to Utah, as good as Miami has looked at points this season, they have a real uphill battle to make the ACC title game.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a little bit of posturing from the College Football Playoff Committee saying we're not going to have 3 ACC teams in here. Like no matter what, we're only going to have 2. That's maybe why Miami's further down. But that gap doesn't make total sense to me. I think if you look at Miami's resume and you look at UVA's, you look at Louisville. I mean, Louisville beat Miami. I think they should be ahead. But you look at Miami's versus Georgia Tech. Like Miami still has a better resume than Georgia Tech does. And
yeah, I mean, they're because, and it depends on what USF does down the stretch. It depends on one of the biggest factors in everything that's going to happen for the ACC is what Pitt does. Because Pitt literally has Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Miami. If Pitt beats Notre Dame, not only does it increase the value for Louisville, who has a win over Pitt, but it would potentially increase the value for either of those two teams in Georgia Tech or Miami beating Pitt after a win over Notre Dame, which would be another quality win. And you'd get Notre Dame dropping out of the playoffs altogether. So that's massive. Like, that is a massive, massive game for the ACC. It's not even taking place this weekend. It takes place in 2 weeks because Notre Dame's playing Navy this week.
Is Pittsburgh the most pivotal team in college football for the rest of the season?
Kind of. I mean, they kind of are. The fact that they play 3 ranked teams to finish out the season is pretty nuts. And
it's pretty crazy.
And the other thing about it is, Sam, like, say Pitt were to run the table and they go 10-2, beating Notre Dame, beating Georgia Tech, and beating Miami to close out the year. Are they potentially an at-large team at 10-2? Like, you wouldn't think so, but I don't, like, that's 3. That's a strong finish, and you beat a big brand in Notre Dame and a 1-loss Georgia Tech. Like, it also depends. Does Georgia Tech go out and beat Georgia after that? You know,
that's a big one too. I would also look at Oregon's schedule. So Oregon hasn't played the toughest schedule in the world so far, and they do have that loss on their resume now. But I would really look at their schedule. They have at Iowa, they have Southern Cal, and they have at Washington.
Yep,
all 3 of those teams ranked. They can either go. They could elevate themselves to a top 4 bye.
Yeah.
In this season, they could also lose one more game and be totally out of this thing. I mean, they have a real opportunity to get in there and mix some stuff up at the top of this. And if they do that, that kind of knocks everybody else down a notch. And then that hurts the Big 12's chances of getting 2 teams in, hurts the ACC's chances of getting 2 teams in if they come up here. So it's going to be really interesting. There's a couple of teams in here who really seem that they kind of control what happens in the rest of this bracket. I do feel pretty confident.
If Iowa beats Oregon this weekend and then wins out, like, who knows what could happen?
Iowa's 2 losses are a close loss to Indiana by 1 possession. Nobody else has done that. Mm-hmm. And they have a close loss on the road first week of the season, but first game really against Iowa State on the road by a field goal. So Iowa could be 10-2.
Wait, no, didn't Iowa beat Iowa State? Or am I getting that backwards?
I think Iowa State won that game.
Okay, I'm misremembering, but yes, they have 2 losses and they have an opportunity this weekend. And USC, same thing. I mean, USC, you beat Oregon in a couple weeks, like, you're in a good position.
It would be hilarious if USC found their way into this playoff. It would be absolutely hilarious.
And USC would also, them winning more games, because they really should have lost to Nebraska this past weekend. If Raiola doesn't get hurt, they might have lost that game, but he did, and they won it. And so if USC wins, though, that'll continue to prop up Notre Dame and firmly, which it already seems like the committee has them firmly in there. They're going to play a decent Navy team. They're going to play a decent Pitt team. Like, if Notre Dame wins out, I think it's safe to say they're in. Do you agree with that, Sam?
I think so.
What we're seeing here.
Yeah, I just had to make sure I wasn't crazy in that Iowa State did win that game against Iowa.
Okay. I couldn't remember. I do remember watching it, but I couldn't remember the winner.
I got to be straight up honest, Pete. I don't really even remember recording College Football Monday a couple days ago. So I was like, oh shoot, I got to get my stats together for the Cincy Utah game. Like, that was a serious thought I had today.
I feel like the UVA thing, let's do that, and then we'll finish with the CFP talk. Like, UVA, they're 1 loss right now. It's against NC State, which is the same team that Georgia Tech lost to, but Georgia Tech is buried in the rankings because we're not buried. They're 3 or 4 spots behind UVA because UVA beat Louisville, and they're honoring that, and which was a wonky game. UVA has Wake, Duke, us. It's very manageable from the teams they play standpoint, but it's not going to be easy for them. They haven't been playing great football.
No, and according to SP Plus, they have the highest wins over expected in terms of post-game win expectancy so far this season.
I mean, that goes back to the luck thing.
Now that's, again, football statistics. You got to think of luck isn't golden horseshoe, luck of the Irish type stuff. Luck is all about, like, taking advantage of high variance opportunities. And that's something they've done really well. That's why every time they get a turnover, it turns into 7 points, right? That's why they're able to get a safety to win a game against Washington State. Like, they've done a great job of taking advantage of those mistakes. Wake Forest is going to make mistakes in that game. Wake Forest did not look good against Florida State. Wake Forest really hasn't looked great at all this year. They've just been kind of able to defense and ugly their way into wins. If Wake Forest makes those mistakes, UVA is going to make them pay. Same with Duke and Darien Mensa. Like, they haven't been great this year. You look at that game that they had against Georgia Tech, and they were making mistake after mistake after mistake, and it cost them the game. Going to be really interesting. And Pete, how sweet would it be? How sweet would it be? Oh man.
I mean,
I'm just thinking about,
I firmly believe that we're going to beat UVA last week of the season. Like, I've been thinking that for 2 weeks now. I still think it. Wake and Duke can both get them. I think Duke obviously has a better shot than Wake, but
yeah,
Wake just got throttled by Florida State. It might be one of those, like, let's get this shit together. Let's bounce back type of games. And
dead cat bounce type.
I mean,
game.
they literally just beat SMU 2 weeks ago. They get crushed by Florida State, which I don't think there's a lot of difference between Florida State and SMU. No. If anything, SMU is the better team. And so, like, it's typical college football stuff. Could Wake go out there and beat UVA? Yeah, they could. They definitely could. And so it's good. The UVA is just like, it's a bizarro season.
Really likely to go.
I'll give them props for getting to this point, winning the games that are on their schedule. Subtract, and like, really, they could have won that NC State game. They had it. Like, they were driving. They were right there.
They are going to end this season as close to 12-0 as they will like 4-8.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It is wild. Anyway, all right, that's going to do it for that. I would say that, like, Louisville, to me, seems like the best team in the conference right now.
I don't know. That Isaac Brown injury is...
Oh, that's right. He did get banged up at the end of
our
game.
Is pretty tough. Now, one thing for Louisville, right? You got to remember, last week of the season, same with Georgia Tech, same with Clemson, although Clemson's not in this thing anymore. They'll play a non-conference team the last week of the season. So they're pretty close to having their final ACC record. So when all of the crap is happening rivalry week within the ACC standings, and Miami has to travel all the way up to Pittsburgh, Louisville, Georgia Tech, they will be set in stone.
Are you in the camp that I said I was done, but this is the last thing? If any ACC team goes 11-1 in a regular season, do you think that's an automatic, like, at-large spot into the playoff? 11-1 power conference team.
I think so.
It's like the same thing as Indiana last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it would be really tough to keep them out, and more so than that, I don't know if you would be able to put a team ahead of them that would be worth the argument, that wouldn't already be ahead of them. And, like, they'll probably end up being like the 11 seed. I don't know who you would put in front of them. Like, a 10-2 SEC team is already going to be ahead of them, right? So now you're going to a 9-3 team. And I think the committee made it pretty clear that you needed 10 wins in order to get into this thing.
Yeah, it seems like that's the case unless there's utter chaos. But I just think even with UVA's weak schedule, even with Georgia Tech's weak schedule, well, of course, Georgia Tech 11-1 would mean they beat Georgia. So that would get in. It's more about Louisville and UVA because their schedules suck. And Louisville is a huge JMU fan to win the Sun Belt and become that power conference, that G6
JMU
conference team to get
is a huge Louisville fan.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's move on to the Franklin thing. It didn't happen. He is not our head coach, Sam. It felt like we were close to getting that bomb, that missile that we wanted from Mike or Pete Thamel or the Nakos nuke, as it were. But my deadline that I set on Monday was, if we don't hear by tomorrow, which was Tuesday, if we don't hear by Tuesday, the window will close until further notice, which further notice is Thanksgiving week. Like, that's when all the jobs are getting filled, and that's kind of what that's where I am right now. I think we've passed the point of it happening before Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, I would agree there. I mean, well,
you were always a little bit long.
I won't totally agree because I said Friday. However, I think the intel, quote, air quotes, if you're not watching on YouTube, air quotes here, that we received wasn't people being like, oh, I heard so and so. I heard da 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 da. It was like, we're writing and editing and we're waiting on final details. And so I firmly do believe Virginia Tech came with an offer that James Franklin verbally, at least, accepted. Now, I think also Auburn probably threw a wrench into that because nobody was really expecting Auburn to come over this week. And I think that gave James Franklin and his party a lot of leverage in this situation. And so it doesn't really surprise me that this is going a little longer than people thought it was, because when we got the news of, hey, Monday, Auburn was closed. Auburn had a coach. Now they don't. And now that changes.
In my head, like, yeah, Auburn, sure. But I even think it's not even an Auburn thing. It's let's push this to the absolute limit with Virginia Tech. Let's get their, best offer on the table possible. And then let's leave them hanging, because I'm still going to wait to see what else comes open, because it's still only November 5th. That's kind of how I felt about the whole thing.
I mean, I think that's very possible. And again, like, I do believe he's playing the leverage card right now. He and his party are playing the leverage card, and you can't really argue them. I think it's unfortunate for Virginia Tech that they were one of the first dominoes in this whole thing, and they had no idea how long that string of dominoes was going to end up being. And I also think it's unfortunate they're like not one of the bigger ones. I think that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So nobody's talked about this, and it's thought that just popped into my mind. Is he at all a guy with NFL aspirations or NFL potential?
Whether or not he has those aspirations, it has not come up in a long time, him being an NFL candidate. Like, sometimes you hear that about certain coaches. You don't hear that about James Franklin.
Yeah. I wonder what's going through his head about what his possible openings are and how realistic those are. And I do wonder if Virginia Tech is trying to call a bluff here, because he hasn't really been connected with LSU. He hasn't really been connected with Arkansas, Oklahoma State,
Arkansas was
UCLA.
the only one where I feel like there was a little
Arkansas's
connection.
Fans were a little bit there.
Yeah.
And
but
then
Florida,
I'll also say,
I don't think Florida was ever.
Never.
There's been no reports about Florida being interested.
It does seem like his party is pushing some Auburn news here to get some leverage. Little bit.
Yeah.
Tidbits.
And I think there's long been the talk about Florida State and his potential interest in that job were it to come open, which we could have a direct impact on, Sam, which is also a funny thing. That's our next game.
I got to be honest. I don't think that job's opening up. I think Florida State could lose out and that job doesn't open up. And I think the specific reason, I don't think Florida State wants to go to war with this coaching search right now. With as much money as they've put into the transfer portal the last 2 years,
dude,
I don't think they want to do this game again, because they're not going to end up with their right guy. I think they like Norvell. I think they're done with Norvell.
They're just handicapped.
I think there are people in that building who like Norvell and want to keep him around, and that's why he wasn't canned last year.
I think the only reason he wasn't canned is because of the money. That's my opinion.
I mean,
you could be right. That's just what I think. I think 2-10 is a fireable offense at Florida State, and that if it was a free buyout, he would have been gone.
Well, that's my thing too. Like, these buyouts, I don't know how much they mean to big athletic departments. I really don't.
Well, if that's the case, if that's your belief, then why would them losing out not mean that they're getting rid of him? I absolutely think if we went down there and won by 2 touchdowns, he's done.
I just, there's something going on there that's keeping him there. I mean, they came out and they rode through the 2-10 season. They're riding through another season. They came out and said, we're going to stick with this guy. I think he goes the next year.
I think it's all money. I think they're just hurting right now. and they sued the conference, and it's gone bad for them.
Fair.
And they got what they wanted, right? We bent over backwards, meaning the ACC, to give them the TV share that they're going to get the most of, and all this nonsense. And so they're doing fine. Like they made a mistake signing him to a huge buyout, but like if they want to get rid of him, which I think they will after they potentially lose to Clemson or us or Florida or whoever. Now, if they win all those games, you're right. He's safe. But I think like they're done with him. That's my opinion. I think Florida State would move on from Norvell in a heartbeat if they weren't handicapped by this buyout.
Circling it back to James Franklin and to Virginia Tech, our belief is that Virginia Tech has made a very, very competitive, maybe overly competitive offer to James Franklin, and
the best offer we can possibly make.
I think so. I think they said, here's what we have in the bank account. Go crazy. I genuinely believe Virginia Tech did that. If James Franklin doesn't want to be here, right, you got to move on to the next guy.
And
are you a little bit worried? Like, I think it's worried we're going to stick on James Franklin for too long,
play, right? Like we both think he's still in play.
I definitely, if I had to place my bet on it, it would be James Franklin right now. But you do worry a little bit about Virginia Tech holding on to the idea of James Franklin for time. And then in the meantime, the back channel conversations, back channel drink, are happening. And you miss out on a guy like Ryan Silverfield, like Bob Chesney, like Alex Golish. Those guys get swept up by some of these other SEC programs, and they get swept up as the backfills. And then all of a sudden you're left, oh, shoot. And now, unfortunately for Virginia Tech fans, this athletic department has been in the, oh, shoot, we don't have anybody yet scenario for hiring coaches time and time again.
Yeah. So that's exactly where I was going to go with this, is like, it is pretty clear that Franklin is our top choice. Like it's been reported. And then all of the smoke and all of the chatter and all of the things that you get from inside the program, like, he's our top choice. We made him a great offer. It was in his court, as Colby said on his show. We don't want to get down to choice 4 or 5 here. Like, we need to make sure that we secure choice 1, 2, or 3. Like that's kind of how I'm viewing it, because if you go past that, then you're jeopardizing the future big time. So again, the window for me right now is closed until Thanksgiving week. We've got to put a full court press on the next guy. Like, that's just how this has to go. And if James wants to come back and accept the reported set offer, then he can do that. But like, I really feel like him and Sexton are like, all right, we squeezed Virginia Tech for everything they could possibly offer us. That's what we know. That's what's setting the market. Now we can go wait.
Yeah, it would also, we should point out, maybe not only to our audience, but to ourselves, a hiring of a coach of James Franklin's profile on November 5th would be unprecedented in the sport. It just does not happen.
Well, oftentimes, Sam, they're not available at this
That's
point.
very true. That's very true. Like, isn't it kind of funny? Like, we did this whole thing about like a search committee, like the fellowship of the coach and things like that. And meanwhile, they're just like, oh, never mind. This perennial 9-10 win coach from the Big Ten just fell into our lap.
Right. Like there's no like high level evaluation going on here. It's like, oh, well, we're going to go after that guy because that's the obvious one. Yeah.
Oh man, you basically might as well hire a bunch of 25-year-olds from McKinsey to come here to be your consultants. Be like, oh yeah, have you thought about hiring the best candidate there is out there and paying him all the money in the world?
In most people's minds, yes, he is the best candidate. Most people's minds. Depth chart. There's a funny aside on the voicemails too that you'll hear later about the candidates and James Franklin. Depth chart injury update. Let's get to some talk about the game before we do basketball. Overton was listed as probable before the game, and he played. That was exciting and cool for a lot of people to see that. And I'll just do the game recap before we do our voicemails here. It was a great first half, maybe our best of the season. After giving up the long TD, the defense stepped up. We got the interception. We tied it with a touchdown. Then we got the block punt. It's 9-7 Hokies. We score another touchdown. We go down the field, quick, score with the pass to Selden. Unfortunately, it unraveled in the second half because we had a 9-point lead at the half. And it really started on that 2-play swing, the drop by Donovan Green, and then the return on the punt return by Louisville that put them right in position. They score. It's 16-14, but we felt the momentum swing. They score again. They score again. 21 straight points for Louisville. Our offense just hit the skids. We don't win. We don't cover. And it ended up being kind of a bummer of an afternoon, which felt so promising in the first half. Before I get the story of the game from Sam, let me play the voicemails.
All right, it's halftime. Lord have mercy, man. I love this team. I love this team. And also, I love this game plan. My goodness, man. I mean, Brahms pissed over there. Good.
This was the Vanderbilt game all over again. Terrible planning in halftime. Made zero adjustments, actually went away from what was working.
Gotta say, getting blown out in the second half at home in multiple games this year is really terrible. I'm ready to flush this season.
Today was my birthday, and the Hokies decided to give me a loss. But, I mean, I wasn't expecting to win the game, but that first half gave me hope.
Every choice we made to throw the ball was a mistake.
If Donovan Green catches that ball, we win that game.
So frustrating watching the special teams, even though we blocked a punt. Do we not have the ability to directional kick? I mean, why are you going to kick it to that guy in the middle of the field?
The passing game was not there at all. Byron was under 100 yards, and there were multiple drops.
Is 2025 Tyron the worst thrower of the football Texas had in the 21st century?
Drones can't do it, but unfortunately we don't have anybody better.
My goodness. Jeff Overton. Are you kidding me? That dude is a gunslinger out the bullets. I'm telling you.
The James Franklin rumors are swirling. PP, I feel bad for my guy. Known James Franklin hater. You must be in shambles right now. I'm just kidding. Very interested to hear you guys break it down tonight in the next episode.
Hokies till we die, baby.
Thank you for the calls, everyone. Much appreciated. We heard from all the mainstays. Yeah, did you feel that it was the second half was just like the Vanderbilt game? Or did you a little less dramatic than that, I suppose?
No. It's the same result on the scoreboard, but for a different reason.
Yeah.
I thought the Vanderbilt game was all about the mental side of the boys in orange and maroon. In this Louisville game, I thought it was about the physical side. My story of the game for this was Virginia Tech played uphill for 30 minutes. And everything looked so difficult. And they were doing their best. And boy, did they try. And boy, did they put a lot of effort. And I loved the game plan for certain points. But, unfortunately, there are certain things you have to do in order to win in modern college football that Virginia Tech was unable to do at all in that game against Louisville. And Louisville's a very good team, and they're very well coached, and they have a lot of talent, and you're not going to win that game.
No, and happy birthday to our guy. I believe that was Nick that said it was his birthday for the Louisville game. We wish they'd got you a win, man. But
beautiful day. Looked beautiful.
Yeah, it looked like a great day again. But thanks for calling, and thanks for your support of the show. I would say my story of the game was the halftime adjustments by Louisville. Those 2 plays and us just running out of gas. Like that's really what it came down to. Because one of our callers said, if Donovan Green catches that pass, we might have won the game. And he's not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That could have, if that goes for a touchdown, the entire second half could have been different. It could have been us holding on for dear life, but we might have won the game. Let me take a second to tell the listeners about our sponsor. 2 Deep Hokies Under the Influence is brought to you by Jack and Coke. 2 legends, 1 can, Jack and Coke. The #1 cocktail in the world is now available in a can. It's true. Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey and Coca-Cola, or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, combined, they are now available in a can. You can get Jack and Vanilla, Jack and Cherry, and Jack and Original all in one box. That's right. They have the variety pack with all 3 in one. They're great. You can get them just about anywhere. They have those canned cocktails or beers. They're going to be right there in the store. And I haven't really run into a store yet, Sam, where they're not there. Most of them, they might be out of stock, but they have them on the shelf typically.
And pro tip, if you live in the great state of New York, you have to go to a liquor store to get them, but they're right there. The packs are right there for you.
Yes, indeed. 2 legends, 1 can, Jack and Coke, ready to drink. as always, when you're having them, please drink responsibly. So the reaction to the game was one of being bummed. I did like the one caller who called at halftime, was like, I love this team.
It is great, man.
They're kicking ass. And that's how we all felt. Like I put
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
I think on the 2 Deep account, it was like first half was fire emoji, you know, and it was. But second half was poop emoji.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unlike
the egg emoji would also work there.
Yeah. Because Monty, I had said maybe last week, you know, we've been a good second half team under Monty, much better than we had been under Pry, or at least better in the third quarter.
Mhm.
And this one wasn't that. And like you had talked about, Sam, there's always a quarter in every game where we just don't have it.
Mhm.
And that was this game. Like we
Yeah.
played great for the first two and okay for one other one, but there was a quarter in there that wasn't so good.
Yeah, and it's a common theme amongst teams who are good but not good enough to play 45 minutes instead of 60, and that's kind of where Virginia Tech is. I think depth has a lot of part to do with it. I think also the style of offense Virginia Tech has devolved into has also played a large part of it. I also think the opponent has. I mean, Louisville's a very good, very, very well coached team. They have very, very good players. They are really good at understanding what you do well and what you do poorly and game planning around that. And that's what they did in this game. Defensively, they ran run blitzes pretty much the entire second half. And they didn't shy away from it. And Tech had no answer for it because they couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
Offensively, they started to run the ball really well with Isaac Brown. They got the ball to their playmakers. Miller Moss is just so pedestrian.
Mm-hmm.
But he makes one or two throws a game that are like, whoa, that was a rocket. And then he goes back to being pedestrian. But he gets the ball to his playmakers. They make plays. That's why they're winning football games.
We ran the ball. We ran that damn ball 40 times. And that the offense that you
didn't really go anywhere with it, but we ran it.
It was going okay in the beginning, but like we have devolved into that offense. And it's something that both me and you wanted. We know that gives us at least the best chance to advance the football. Because like Devin said in the calls, like, is Kyron the worst passer of the football? Like 2025 version of Kyron. Is he the worst passer of the football this century? I don't know if I'd go quite. I mean, Quincy Patterson did start a game for us.
I think it's no, and we talked about the Quincy Patterson offense. We've kind of joked. It's not really a joke. It's pretty much the same offense.
And who's the other guy? Blumrick. Like Blumrick.
Connor Blumrick might be the worst.
He did. I mean, he played that bowl game. He played the Miami game.
Yeah, Connor Blumrick might be the worst throwing quarterback Virginia Tech's ever had. But I mean, right now with Kyron, it's just not good. It's not good at all. Virginia Tech in this game averaged 3.17 yards per dropback.
Ooh.
That would be last in the country by a significant amount if they had done it for the whole year. Fortunately for Virginia Tech, they've done slightly better for the whole year. They are now 131st in the nation in yards per dropback with 4.9 yards per dropback.
That is crazy, dude. That is so bad, and is like, it's not just that Kyron is struggling. It's that he's gotten materially worse throwing the football.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten so much worse that I wonder, like, what the heck is wrong with Pop Watson?
Right. Like, because Pop, I don't think would put up these passing numbers. I really don't.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on there. I think they feel like Kyron's power running gives them something. And Kyron ran the ball really well in this game.
He did. But they weren't even in the beginning of the season, though, Sam. Like, we couldn't pass, and they weren't running him the way they should have. So it's like, whatever. They're going to keep starting Kyron. We know that. And, you know, that's fine. This season is a lost season anyway. But just 76 passing yards, under 50% completion, a 45 QBR. And the offensive numbers overall were, you know, pretty putrid. 240 yards, 3.8 yards per play, which I kind of expected against this D. I didn't think it was going to be pretty. Like, Louisville has a very good unit. But what killed us was 4 of 17 on third and fourth down. 4 of 17 is brutal. Like, That's 0 of 2 on fourth and 4 of 15 on third. So, and the other than Kyron not being able to do anything dynamic in the past game, the running backs not being able to break one. Like they couldn't get loose. We didn't get the big Stewart run. We didn't get the big Hawkins run.
0 explosive plays in this game for the Hokies. 0. Not going to win with that. It's one of the highest correlating stats to winning that doesn't involve points. Actually, it is the highest. And you had 0 of them. It's just
is that 20 yards?
So you can calculate it in a few different ways. If you are just watching the game, I would consider if you see a play that is like 15 to 20 yard run or a 20 plus yard pass, I would consider that like an explosive play. Your eyes will normally tell you if it's an explosive play or not, but you can calculate it a few different ways. I believe the site that I use uses if it's above 2 expected points added, it's an explosive play. Tech had none of those.
We didn't have a single play that went over 20 yards. We didn't have a play that went over 17 yards. And so, and that's been unusual for us because in NC State and Cal, like we broke some long plays.
Tech has been doing better. Tech has been averaging like 5 a game. So to get 0 is you're basically looking at 100 yards gone. In this game. It's another game where Tech lost the field position battle significantly, and that's including a time pinning them down inside the 5. I mean, the field position for Virginia Tech is awful. Do we want to go into special teams?
Sure. Yeah. Mike talked about it in the calls, but the punting,
it's putrid.
The punting to like you've said it a couple different times. Like Mike said, can we not directionally punt?
No. So Virginia Tech has seriously played maybe the 3 best punt returners in the country. You played Vicari Swain at South Carolina. He housed one on you. You've played DeJesus at Cal. He almost housed one on you. And this guy at Louisville, Lacey, is as dynamic of a player there is in the country. And you punted a whole lot in both of those games, and you kept punting to him. And it's not a secret that these are the best like punt return.
Right.
I mean,
You can
Jacob
look it up.
DeJesus has like 4 years of punt return touchdowns on film. Everyone has seen it. And so for me, it's just like a complete lack of awareness for your opponent and then what you're good at in the game. Because you got to think with all of the transfers and injuries the defense has had and offense, you've had to bump guys up the depth chart, which means you have to replace some of those guys on special teams. So now our special teams is a bunch of like second, third, back of the bench players that are now trying to tackle a guy who's going to be drafted in fantasy drafts in the NFL in a couple of years. That's not going to work out well for you. And so it's just a complete lack of coaching. I know they got the block punt, and that was awesome for Prelude and really cool moment. Other than that, it has been a pretty big disaster.
Yeah, no, it has been. To finish out the offense, Hawkins led us with 45 yards. Stewart had 22. Overton did get in there, and he is a big body, and he does seem to like kind of shoot out of a cannon a little bit. Yeah,
quick. Mm-hmm.
But it was a small sample size. I think he had 9 yards on 4 carries. But it's exciting. You want to keep a guy like that in the program because he does have the talent. He worked his way back from this injury to play in what is this crappy season. So I give him a lot of credit for that because he could have just redshirted. But yeah, if he sticks around, he's going to be a running back for the future. And it was good to see him out there. Hairston led us with 3 catches, 15 yards. Heath, 5 targets. You wanted to talk about some targets today.
Yeah.
3 receptions for 16 yards on 5 targets isn't great.
I don't think they would call that efficient. So that's something I wanted to look at for this game because I felt like Louisville did a really good job of getting the ball to their best players. Their 3 best players on offense, the aforementioned Colin Lacey, Chris Bell, and Isaac Brown. Like those are their 3 best players. They do a good job getting the ball. Virginia Tech doesn't do a good job of that because I think Tech has some talented receivers. Aiden Green, he leads the team in targets. He had 6 targets, only 1 reception. That's not good. That's not good at all. Then you
not that that's all on him, but
not all on him, but like this is like what the offense is trying to do, right? Cam Selden, he only had 2 targets and 1 carry. Benji Gosnell, no targets in this game. Takai Heath, we said, had 5. Isaiah Spencer had 2. Hairston, the tight end, had 4 targets. So that's where all your tight end targets are going. Then you had Marcellus Hawkins. He had 1 reception for 12 yards on a nice play. Pearson Prelo had 2 targets. They were both just swing passes. Donovan Green, he had the 1 target, drop touchdown. Hate that. And then you have Snook Peterkin, who I think has dropped every pass gone his way so far this season. I think he literally has 4 targets and 4 drops.
He's a freshman. I know it sucks. I think didn't he catch 1? Didn't he have 1 catch? I don't know.
I don't know, but he didn't catch this one, and he got 1 target. So those are the 24 targets Virginia Tech had. Nobody above 6, right? Aiden Green had 6.
Yeah.
Colin Lacey had 8 targets in this game. Chris Bell had 9 targets in this game. Isaac Brown, Louisville's one of their best players on offense, who got hurt in the 4th quarter and didn't play the last few drives. He had 16 carries. Virginia Tech's starting running back only had 12 carries, and Tech ran the ball half the damn game. So it's like you have these playmakers on the outside that we're excited about. You have Aiden Green. You have Cam Seldon. Shoot, you even have like Isaiah Spencer has made some plays for you this year. You're not getting them the ball. You're not even trying to. I don't know how you expect to win and score points when you don't put the ball towards your best players.
It would have been, yeah. And I'm not asking them to run wide receiver screens because it's really not one of my preferred plays in football. But it's an opportunity when Kyron's running this much or having to run this much, and maybe it's slowing down and not working so well. Because I thought Kyron was making some really good reads early in the game. I felt
too.
like because he was keeping it more than giving it, which is why we have less carries. And it was working to a point. But once it started to not work, it would have been nice to see a Cam Seldon come around the back end. It would have been nice to do the infamous jet sweep, something to that degree.
You paid money for these guys. You won recruiting battles for these guys. Get him the ball.
Dump the ball off to Prelu and let him do his yak thing. He deserved it after blocking that punt.
Yeah, it became too easy. It became way too easy for Louisville to defend Virginia Tech, and there was a 4th down that Tech had in the 4th quarter, and it was like 4th and 3, and Tech basically just ran a QB sweep, and Kyron had nowhere to throw the ball because wide receiver was blocking downfield, and they also had linemen blocking downfield because there was no option to throw the ball. It was a run play the whole time, and I'm like, man, at least give them an option. Right? At least give them something. And I think I understand the game plan from Monty. I understand the play calling. It's something we've been looking for. You have to be able to balance that with still trying to find a way to get guys like Cam Seldon the ball. And Tech has not done that this year at all.
Yeah. He had the touchdown on the 1 pass on the outside. And it's, we knew what we were up against. It would have been nice to do a little bit more, but they did, in my opinion, they did what I asked in terms of just they stuck to the run for the most part. And even Devin said, every time they threw it, it's a mistake. Now, I could get behind some short distance throws or the occasional, you see a coverage bust and you throw. But this is what I wanted to see. It's just the guys just couldn't get loose. They couldn't get loose. Louisville's a good defending team, and it just didn't work, and not in the second half. And so it sucks, but if we don't have a quarterback that you can trust to throw the football against that secondary, then this is what you get. And that's the unfortunate part. The defense did come to play, especially in that first half. There was a stretch of 6 drives after the touchdown by Brown where Louisville didn't score. 6 drives where the opponent didn't score. That's really good for Virginia Tech. We have not done that too often. And then they ended up scoring a bunch, but Miller Moss was held in check. We had the recipe. We were making him look as pedestrian as he is, only 136 passing yards against our secondary, which we know is banged up and young and has all these issues, has been bad for most of the year. Only 136 yards to a top talent. I'm not saying he's great, but a top arm talent in Miller Moss with Jeff Brom as his coach. That's good. The problem is we gave up a lot of rushing yards.
I thought
and they ran for a good clip.
I mean, the first half, Tech was all over the place. The defensive backs, I thought, did a phenomenal job tackling, and I'll throw Caleb Spencer in there, and I'll throw Caleb Woodson, who was bad on the first 2 drives, and then he kind of woke up
Yeah,
throughout
he
the
was
rest of
good
the
in
game.
this game.
I thought they did a great job in that. I thought they were getting pressure on Miller Moss, hitting him hard. Kamari Copeland looks like an NFL defensive tackle. He had a phenomenal game. They just got pretty exhausted towards the end, and there was for a good 20 out of the 60 minutes of this game, Louisville was running the ball for chunk plays over and over again, and there was really no stopping them.
No. And we couldn't get the negative plays. We had 1 sack. We had 3 TFL. Like, that's pretty low for us. Like, typically we get a little bit more. And I didn't think Louisville had the best line in the world, so I was hoping to get home a few more times. But when that doesn't happen and you're not making the big plays on defense and then you're not getting the explosive plays on offense, like, this is the result that you get. So overall, I thought we played very hard. I thought there was a chance we could have won the game, but like the explosive play we could have had, the player didn't make the play. Kyron actually made a decent pass and Green couldn't come down with it. And it might have been the difference in the game.
Yeah, I think it probably was the difference in the game. At least from a momentum side, that's when it really tilted. I would also say there were probably opportunities there in the early part of the third quarter, other than just that play, where Virginia Tech just couldn't get anything going. I believe the first 4 drives of the second half had only 2 first downs.
I think you're right.
That's really, really tough. In fact, I believe Virginia Tech only had 2 quality drives in the whole game. So, and they scored touchdowns on both of those. Great job. But I mean, the offense was so anemic and so poor. I mean, they only had a 38% success rate in the game. They've been averaging 43% this year, so 38% is not great. Louisville had 55%, which just kind of goes to show you how dominant that team was able to be in the third and fourth quarters offensively. I mean, you're just, again, that's the only thing I can think of is like playing uphill. It looked like the field was tilted.
None of the drives while the game was in question were more than 30 yards in the second half for us. And so you can't win like that. The offense it's against a defense like that, it's going to be hard. Now against Florida State or against Miami's not a great example, though Miami's not playing that well. And this is the toughest test defensively that we have left. I mean, Ruben Bain's going to be a problem, but I don't know. I just feel like this Louisville team is playing well and playing together on defense. That
they rallied to the ball.
Kind of work well
really well
to slow this down.
It's really tough to get a one-on-one against this Louisville defense. They do a very good job of making sure that even if the first guy misses, there's somebody right behind him. So they do a very good job of that. I think it was by far Virginia Tech's worst offensive performance of the year. By far worst. I actually think it was one of Virginia Tech's.
I mean,
I think it was one
ODU was worse. The only reason we did anything against ODU is because it was over.
Yeah, but you at least moved the ball
at the end. Here,
that's true. That's true. But even in the first half, you moved it a little bit.
You're right. No, you're right about that.
I think this was the only.
We moved it in this first half. We had a great drive. That touchdown drive, the second drive was great.
That was great. I think this was the only game though where I thought, Virginia out of this stretch with Monty, I'll say that part.
Okay.
Where Virginia Tech started to look uncompetitive at a point in this game and never really. I mean, Georgia Tech blitzed them with scripted plays in the first 2 drives, and then Tech tied them for the rest of the game. This was the first game where I was like, "Oh, this is."
The end of the Wake game was pretty anemic.
Offensively, yes, but it was still a 1-possession game. You only needed 1 drive, and this one it became clear as all right, the defense is going to give up a few more scores, and the offense can't move the ball. This is done.
You're saying from just a despair aspect, this was the worst.
From a despair aspect, yeah.
Despair ratio.
I think the scoreboard was, even though Virginia Tech didn't cover, which sucks.
Oh my God, sucks.
I think the scoreboard was decently friendly to what that game actually looked like.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah. But we got to say, you can't question the effort of these guys.
No, you can't.
You cannot question it. Mm-mm.
They're playing as hard for as long as they possibly can. And that's a ranked team. Like Louisville's a good team and they're a well-coached team. And it's hard to like outfox them for 60 minutes when you're playing undermanned and beat up and all the rest of it. So bad second half. What can you do? We'll move on. And I do think we'll have a shot against Florida State, Miami, and UVA. Now, Sam, I want you to answer this question a little bit later, but I'm going to pose it to you now. You can get one win the rest of this year. You tell me which it is later in the show. 2 Deep Hokies Under the Influence is brought to you by Rowback. You guys know Rowback, the performance activewear designed for those who crave activity. Right now, they're offering our listeners 20% off. Use code 2DEEPVT to get any of their hoodies, polos, tennis skirts, joggers. They got great stuff. Go to their site, load up your cart, use code 2DEEPVT, and also use that code 2DEEPVT, all one word, at Compass Coffee. The best coffee in the DC area. We'll ship it straight to your house. Use code 2DVT. Great coffee doesn't need to be complicated. Let's talk a little bit of basketball. Actually, you know what, Sam? I got a beer. You're not drinking tonight, but I do have a beer.
You got a beer.
And then we're going to do basketball. I'm having a deja vu moment right now. But I'm drinking the Foreign Objects Wild Gravity. Oh, nope, that's wrong. Wet Gravity. That gravity's wet, not wild. One more,
couple more sips, you'll figure it out. Yeah.
Hazy, yeah, I know. This is what's going wrong. Foundational hazy IPA is what it says. Ooh. I don't really know why it'd be foundational, but maybe it's one of their mainstays. I've had a Foreign Objects before. It's good. It's good beer. Wet Gravity is pure and ideal expression of our intense love of American hops, an opaque yellow glow, juicy beyond belief, and saturated with aromas of sweet grapefruit pulp, mango, and American hop resin. Citra and Azteca hops. Soak your feet in. It's good. I like this. I'd probably I'm not giving it a 4. I'll give it a 3.75. The Foreign Objects Wet Gravity. It's 7%. It's a DDH. It is from New Jersey. The last time I had this, my brother from PA gave it to me, so I thought it was from Pennsylvania. But they have a good reputation. The Wet Gravity Foundational Hazy IPA. This is drinkable. Like it's 7%, which is where I like to be. It's not too dry or anything like that. It's got a nice flavor to it. It's got a nice color to it, and it's light enough in feel that you could do more than one. Like even though it's 7% and hazy, like it doesn't feel like that. It feels easy to drink.
And I'll give a shout out to some listeners who have hit me up about some dark beer, some porters, some stouts, and all that they recommend. I will be heading to Total Wine next week to stock up for kind of the rest of November and get some darker beers there. So thank you if you have reached out with some of your favorite dark beers. And if you haven't yet, please tweet me, DM me, whatever you need.
I saw this. Speaking of porters, saw this tweet today and it made me laugh. Letting the big Fitz do the talking tonight. And it's a picture of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald from Great Lakes. Heck yeah, it is.
That's from.
Oh, I'll have to see if I can find that.
At IzzoTruther69 on X. I'm assuming he's a Michigan State fan. But yes, so Porter season is coming, and I'm excited about it. But let's talk some hoops. Both the men's and the women's team won and scored a lot of points the other night. Men took down Charleston Southern 98-67. Wasn't a great first half in this one. We were only up 4 at the break. They were shooting over 50% from 3, and we were 2 of 13 from beyond. So we were struggling with the stroke, but we still had a lead. Second half was a totally different story. Started with an 8-0 run for Virginia Tech. They hit a 3, and then we went on a 19-0 run. So it was a 27-3 start for the Hokies in the second half, and we kind of wrapped things up. You took a peek at this after the fact, Sam. What were your thoughts on what you saw?
Yeah, I had to watch the game afterwards on YouTube, because YouTube TV doesn't seem to want to have the game. That's a different discussion. It was funny to kind of put the narrative of the game and like the play-by-play stats to actual pictures. And the one thing I noticed is Virginia Tech does look markedly bigger than they have in previous years.
Much so, yes.
Like, not even just from a height standpoint, guys look stouter and they look more physical, and that showed up on the boards. I believe they had the most rebounds they've ever had in a game since 2015.
They had a ton.
Which they had like 52 or something like that. Like,
it was
crazy amount.
54 rebounds.
Yeah. And this is also asterisks, right? Charleston Southern, not a very good team. We'll put that out there. Although I do think they looked decently scrappy, which can be difficult to play. I just was really that's the thing that I saw that I wasn't expecting, was the physicality, the rebounding, the I guess the intensity with which our bigs played, and then the intensity of which guys like Jaden Bedford played. I thought he was really good in this game. Neo does so much on the court other than score. It's crazy. I mean, he defends, he passes, he rebounds, all of it. He didn't have a very good shooting night, and he also didn't shoot very well in the scrimmages. I think Virginia Tech's going to need him to shoot well against Providence.
Yeah, and the shot for Neo coming in, that was part of the knock. Is he going to shoot well? His shooting numbers overseas were fine, but it was a question. And in terms of his NBA draft stock, he's got to shoot the ball better if he wants to go higher in the first round. And so it's game one. And he said he was a little nervous, and he played a good game despite not having a great shooting night. I think he was 3 of 13, 1 of 6 from 3, but he had 9 assists for a guy who's 6'8". I mean, that's awesome. He had that one awesome block too in the beginning of the game.
That chase down block.
He had 2 blocks total. He had that outlet pass. Like, the vision for that was, and the way it was just right on point was sweet. It was like a full length of the court outlet pass. So he's definitely the playmaker that we think he is. Now, we want to see it against some better competition, but when you're watching these type of games, you're looking for things to stand out, as Sam kind of hinted at, like the size. Like, looking at Christian Gerdak, I mean, that kid's a horse, dude.
If we haven't really talked, like, even not only on the podcast, and the Hokie Hoops preview was great, by the way. You, Ed, and Mike did a great job with that. And if he and Dort can come in and give you, right, you need like 10 minutes from each of them, and you got 5 fouls each. And if those guys can come in and crash the glass, maybe get the opponents in foul trouble too, be physical, tire them out, I think that really does change this Virginia Tech team, because then you allow Neo to do some things, and you allow Amani Hansberry to maybe step out for 3 a little bit more, and you allow Toby, who can shoot the 3 too, but you allow Toby, he doesn't have to be as much of the physical presence and stuff like that. Like, Gerdak was not somebody we were thinking was going to be playing big minutes for this team, and he'll play less minutes as Dort is now eligible to play. Like, I don't know exactly what was up with that. Yeah,
so
but
Dorn it's Dorn,
Dorn,
like
not
Roger
Dorn. I'm thinking like Lou Dort.
You're thinking of
Dorn.
Lou Dort, yeah.
Right, yes, sorry.
But no, Dorn couldn't play because of some type of eligibility issue where he was out for game 1. But he will be there. And so it was kind of fun to see Gerdak play all those minutes. And the beauty of it is, Sam, to what you were saying, like, those guys are both coming off the bench. To get Dorn, which we haven't seen yet, so we don't know, but like, by all accounts, like, he's probably going to play more minutes than Gerdak. He's a 22-year-old freshman. And Gerdak looks like a college basketball player right now. He had 8 points, 5 rebounds in his first ever game, and he's huge. And so that's great, because Hansberry and Lawal are your 2 bigs. Now, they're not maybe prototypical ACC bigs, like they're not 7 foot, but they're good quality players. Hansberry had 13 rebounds. Toby had 12. That's a big reason we got to that 54 number. Both those guys are athletic as hell. They can jump. They're physical. And Hansberry has the body too. Like, he's a thick dude. And he he was jacking up some threes, right? And I saw on my timeline, all right, we need to stop jacking up these threes. Well, I got news for you. Amani Hansberry, who's our starting five, made 33% of his threes. If he does that, that's amazing for our spacing.
Yeah.
It changes everything if he's going to make 33 to 35% of his threes.
Yeah, it does. And it's great because it also, Mike Young, he said coming into the season, I don't know how this team is shooting from outside compared to some of the others I have, which isn't really what you want to hear. But if you can even have the threat of it, so if you have a lineup that has Neo who can shoot a little bit, Jane shot out there as well, and Hansberry can step out there, you start to think of like, okay, now we can really give Toby some one-on-one inside, or we can really give Dorn some one-on-one inside with a little bit more space. And we give Neo a little bit of room on the pick and roll and stuff like that. That's the difference usually between college basketball and the pros, is the pros are so much better at spacing because more guys can do different things. They don't just get to a spot in the floor and stick there. If Virginia Tech is able to space the floor like that, that's another thing that completely changes the outlook of this team. And it seems so small, but it makes a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, the cool thing about this lineup, and just to finish it on Hansberry, he had 19 and 13 in his first game as a Hokie. Like that dude's going to put up points. He's going to grab boards. And Toby led us with 20, and then he had the 12 boards. So they both had double-doubles. There are no black holes on this team from a distance shooting standpoint. Any of the guys that play can shoot a three and potentially make it. It's no like, oh, that guy won't shoot it. No, like Tyler Johnson, he'll shoot a three and he'll make it. Hansberry, our five, he'll shoot a three and he'll make it. Toby can shoot, and it's not his thing necessarily, but he showed an ability to do it later in the season last year, and he took a couple threes in this game. And then you add in the actual shooters in Jaden Schude and Jalen Bedford, who I did think looked good in his debut for the Hokies too, a veteran presence. So he got the start. So our starters, there was no Ben Hammond, which Mike Young said Ben Hammond would start at point guard. Well, maybe he meant started actual point guard, because he didn't start. Like Neo was the de facto point guard to start the game. You had Neo, Bedford, Johnson, Lawal, and Hansberry, which I would expect Hammond will be the first guy off the bench pretty consistently, and that will be your starting five. We saw some Pasha in here too. We're gonna have to see how he fits in. He had 6 points, and he has ability. He has a lot of ability. I think finding the roles for everyone is going to take time.
Yeah.
You don't have time though before Providence.
Nope.
That's what's up
you do
next.
not.
Providence
that game is on
team.
Saturday. Yeah, I thought, Hammond we've heard really good things about Ben Hammond this offseason and his progression. So it's going to be great to see him get some good quality minutes off the bench and be able to really run this offense effectively. And like you said, Isaiah Pasha I don't know if he's going to play a ton of minutes for this team, but I do feel confident in his ability, like you said. And maybe he is a guy who it's like, hey, get a taste of ACC ball, learn, get you in there. Worst case scenario, we have a few injuries. I mean, how many times has Virginia Tech had an injury to the winger and then the whole season goes kaput, right? Having him there on your bench is pretty darn good.
That's what I was going to say.
You do feel good about the development of a guy like that.
If Pasha is your 9th guy, 8th guy, somewhere in there, maybe even 10th, that's amazing. Yeah. He was CAA really freshman of the year last year. Like, that's what we're going to need to get through ACC play. We had nobody who could reliably handle the ball in the middle of the year last year. Hammond kind of developed into that, but Rec wasn't great at it. We have a lot of ball handlers now, and that is very exciting. If we want to just look at Providence, they're 63rd in the KenPom. We are 66th. From one nerd's point of view, which we all love, KenPom, Virginia Tech graduate, it's an even matchup. So I'm so eager to see how we look against what is a real team, a potential tournament team in Providence. And then you just looking forward before we close out basketball, we got St. Joe's after that next Wednesday. Charlotte should be a win. Bryant should be a win. and then we go to Atlantis. We come back, play at South Carolina. George Mason at home. That is the one that, yes, you hear that and you're like, should be a win. Mason's a good team this year.
They're replacing a lot, but they're a very good team. That's going to be a tough one. South Carolina on the road is going to be very tough as well. And that Atlantis tournament, you guys talked about it really well in the preview, but there are some good teams in there, including St. Mary's, VCU, Colorado State, where Rex Steiner is now, will be Virginia Tech's first matchup.
Yeah, they're not bad. They're not a bad team.
So I think there's a lot of opportunities to grow into this season. I think there's also a lot of resume building opportunities. It's a very good mix for Virginia Tech before they get to ACC play, where they open with Virginia.
Yeah. And UVA should be much improved under a coach that you used to like.
I still like them. I still do.
Sam likes VCU basketball, and they hired.
Go Rams. Go Rams. Yeah. I don't know, dude. I think Phil Martelli is a better fit for VCU than Ryan Odom was long term.
Phil Martelli Jr.
Phil Martelli Jr. Yes.
Yeah.
Phil Martelli's there too, like as like
Oh,
pseudo advising too. Yeah. But Phil Martelli Jr. is the coach of VCU, and he was the coach at Bryant for a few years. Runs a really cool NBA style offense that's fun to watch.
I ran CYO track back in the day, which is, I guess, Catholic Youth something. I don't know what CYO stands for, but ran track, had a sports banquet. Phil Martelli was the speaker at our 8th grade sports banquet.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's a pretty good speaker coming down from Philly to Delaware to give us a little speech. I still remember that. We were in the social hall of my Catholic school in Delaware. All right, last couple things here before we do picks. Listener question. If you could win one game, FSU, Miami, or UVA, which one do you want to win the most?
UVA.
Yeah.
It's
almost too
answer.
Easy. Yeah.
It is.
Because they're having the season they're having. Now, if Miami was top 10, it might be different. But it's got to be UVA. Even in bad years, a lot of our fans would be like, it's UVA. Like, even if they were struggling.
Okay, so to play devil's advocate to myself, right? Devil on my shoulder. Would it be, we'll let them have this one and let's get Miami at home?
No.
Okay.
No.
Fair.
I don't think so. I think beating UVA in Charlottesville during what could be their best season of the millennium.
Because here's what's kind of annoying about it. If VCU wins the next 2 games, they're in the ACC title game.
UVA, you said VCU.
UVA, shoot.
That's
I'm sorry.
funny.
Gosh, I'm all over the place with Virginia teams. If the Wahoos win their next 2 games, they're in the ACC championship game. And if they're in the ACC championship game, that means they are in a win and you go to the playoff scenario. So what I imagine is that there's not a huge likelihood of Virginia Tech straight up knocking UVA out of the college football playoff on our own. I don't, unless they lose the next 2 games. Like, unless they lose.
What we talked about earlier was UVA. If UVA goes 11-1 regular season, I don't think the committee leaves out an 11-1 power conference team from the playoff. Now, that means if they go 10-2, they're absolutely getting left out of the playoff. They don't have their strength of schedule is horrible.
But they could still win the ACC, is what I'm saying.
You got me.
Get the auto bid.
You got me.
But I do think what is true, like it would be kind of like what Michigan had over Ohio State. Like you won the Natty, but we still beat you.
Damn, you're right. They're gonna be if they win their next 2,
if they win their next 2, they control their destiny.
All right, so let's play that out.
Okay.
They're 10-1. We go to Charlottesville, we beat them. They're 10-2. They're in the ACC title game playing Louisville or Georgia Tech for whatever that's worth. Do you think they lose to us and then win that game?
No shot.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, I think I think your best
Like
chance for them,
they did beat
their
Louisville
best
this year.
chance.
Like they
I
have
think
set
their
that
best
precedent.
chance would be playing Pitt. If they could find a way for it to be Pitt UVA in the ACC title game, is it more disgusting than Wake Forest Pittsburgh? 2 500 teams playing in the ACC title game. Remember that?
Yeah.
I do think that would be their best matchup. Maybe. I don't think they're beating Louisville again if they play that team twice. I think Georgia Tech has the Haynes King X factor that is.
I don't think they'd beat Georgia Tech.
Tough in a big game.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, who was like Miami. If Miami could find a way to get to the ACC title game, I think
they would
athletically that would be a tough matchup for UVA.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it that much until, we were going through the playoff rankings in this, but like it's getting a little frightening, Sam.
Yeah, spooky season is not over. Spooky season has only begun.
From a Virginia Tech standpoint, the idea that they're in that graphic, like UVA is in the playoff graphic, and that they're only a couple games away from locking up a spot in the title game. And that's the thing. It's like, it's probably not going to be Louisville. If UVA is in the game, they wouldn't play Louisville most likely because they're probably getting pushed out by Louisville. They're probably pushing Louisville out is what I mean, because they have the head-to-head.
Yeah. It's not good.
Fucking balls. All right.
I mean, they did play in the ACC championship game not too long ago.
They did.
It didn't go well for them in that game, and it didn't go well for them in the Orange Bowl against Florida either.
Yeah, but that Clemson team ain't coming around the corner.
Nope.
Last thing I want to ask you before picks. Have you rejiggered your candidates for Virginia Tech that are not named James Franklin? So we've offered Franklin. We've gone down that road. We're waiting for him to say yes or no, whatever. Have you changed some of your thought process with the other guys?
I'm starting to like Bob Chesney more and more, especially because of his second half adjustments. I think he does a great job of getting his guys to play 4 quarters. And I think he does a great job of getting his whole team ready for games. I don't think there's really many games where they have a good defense and a bad offense, or a good offense and a bad defense. They've been pretty holistically good under him. A few games here or there that haven't been great, but they've been winning. I think Bob Chesney's risen for me. I think Ryan Silverfield is really interesting because that Memphis team has a little bit of, moxie, never say die attitude to them. And it won them a game against Arkansas, and it won them a game against South Florida. And I think you need a coach that can bring that in. And as well, I think there's some players on that Memphis team that'd be like, that'd be a pretty good ACC football player if we had him.
Yeah.
Which is also, it's not the decision maker, but it is part of it.
When you think of the top candidates outside of Franklin, like it's the Fab Five of Mullen, Golish, Sumrall, Silverfield, Chesney. Like that is like those 5 names are the ones that most people are eyeing. And I agree with you, Sam, that Chesney has been moving up my board, moving up my perception based on what he is doing in these second halves, based on the way he carries that team, and that they kind of like come out and just beat the shit out of everybody. Like and they probably could have won that Louisville game if Chesney didn't.
I mean, if Alonzo Barnett was 100% healthy, they probably win that game. And I think the quarterback, I've been harsh on him with the quarterback decision. I understand Barnett was coming off ACL surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I think
but if he's on the field, he's on the field.
He made the pivot, and this is a guy who's early in his career, and he made the pivot. And I think that something has to be said for him getting the right guy on the field. And now you see the fruits of those labors. Like, I think they are more in the driver's seat to be in the playoff than Memphis is. If you look at their schedule and you look at what's ahead of them, I think they're more in control than San Diego State is, who just won't have many impressive wins. So
It's tough because they were talking about this on Cover 3, and they kind of dismissed the Sun Belt. Like, you have to pay the Sun Belt tax in terms of the strength of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
The American has a good shot to beat itself up. And if all those teams have 2 losses and JMU wins their conference with 1 loss and they're wiping the floor with people, I don't see why JMU couldn't get in. Not that I'm rooting for that. I'm just San Diego State and JMU have just as good a shot at getting in as the American champ, in my opinion.
And if that committee is using any sort of advanced metrics, top 10 kind of across the board, San Diego State, James Madison. Even when you get to opponent adjusted, those teams are absolutely dog walking their opponents right now. And we're not seeing that in the American anymore. We're not, like, teams aren't doing that. Memphis, South Florida, Tulane's out of it. North Texas, I don't think is going to really be considered at this point. And Navy, they have such a tough schedule coming up. I don't think they're going to get out of this with only 1 loss.
How are you reconciling your coaching rankings with the games happening on the field? Because for me, you don't ever want to take too much about a coach based on 1 game or a 2-week period or whatever it is. But Tulane has looked terrible their last 2 games. They got blown out by Ole Miss earlier in the year. Meanwhile, Silverfield comes back and beats Golish. Like this, it has to play in to your factoring of these coaches, how these games are playing out. And guess what? We're getting Summerall against Silverfield this weekend.
Yes, we are.
Do you think the winner of that coaching matchup takes the edge in your board?
Maybe. I mean, I don't think John Summerall is coming to Virginia Tech at all. I think he is SEC bound, LSU calling.
You just don't think he's
Florida.
He's not an ACC guy.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the interesting part about Silverfield is he has more sustained success, and it's also been quieter. He quietly has that sustained success.
He doesn't get the hype as the other guys. You're right.
He doesn't. And I think also with Golish, you have a little bit of the X's and O's offensive wizardry to him, but then you also have, you got crushed by Miami, which I don't think you're going to hold that result against him too much. You dropped the game against Memphis that you should have won. I believe they were up 17 in that game at one point. You dropped that game. He isn't a coach who has had the sustained success as a head coach. So if I can't look at your track record for 9, 10 and win seasons, and I also can't look at this season for, an elite season, then you start to fall behind.
Right.
I don't think it's as much of the winner of this game moves up. It's the winner of this game just so happens to have another resume building season.
Yeah. And if Silverfield wins, though, you're adding that longer track record to beating 2 really good teams in your conference.
And for those who don't know, Ryan Silverfield, the head coach of Memphis, he's won, I believe, into 3 seasons before this, 28 games.
Yeah.
The
last 2 seasons have been really impressive. And then you add this one in and it's crazy.
And he's done a great job of developing quarterbacks, developing the line of scrimmage. Their defense has gotten better and better each year. His track record is really impressive.
Yeah, it is. And I think
it's not to bring up bad memories. It is a more impressive head coaching track record than what Justin Fuente had coming from Memphis.
I think where I'm landing with these guys is it's probably, I want to see what happens this weekend. But if Summerall is really, he does seem destined for the SEC. So say we would just want to eliminate him. Golish, Silverfield, Chesney, they're all behind Mullen for me. But any of those 4, any of those 5, if you get one of them at Virginia Tech, I'm probably going to feel good about it.
So it's Franklin, Mullen, and then the 3 Americans.
Yes.
Okay, and those are your 5.
There's actually there's 3 Americans and Chesney.
Oh, wait, no. So not Summer. Okay, so you have Franklin, Mullen, Chesney, Silverfield, Golish.
And I think I'm really I think I'm battling between Chesney and Silverfield now behind Mullen in my head.
But
not that we're even going after Mullen, just for my own personal.
After those after those 5, below that would be we failed this coaching search line.
Probably. Yeah.
Probably. Okay. How does PJ Fleck get into that?
Yeah, there has been some talk about PJ Fleck. I mean, it's weird because throwing in a sitting P4 head coach is weird because it's like, is that
Head coach
really
at Minnesota,
happening?
for
Is he
those who don't
really
know.
leaving? Are we paying a buyout?
I mean, he's the head coach at Minnesota, where he wins about 8 games a year. Culturally fits that school very well. He's paid $8 million a year.
I don't know, man. I think he could win at Tech. I think he could do well. I think he'd raises our floor immediately.
Yep.
Do I want him more than an up and comer? Because this is like the mystery box, right? Like, what could be in there? It could be a boat. Like, it's like the mystery box.
You know
is the
exactly
G5
what
guy.
you're getting with PJ Fleck.
Right, exactly. Like you might pop up and you might have a really good historic season, which he did do at Minnesota. And then he won 9. I think he went 9-4, and like then he had some seasons that weren't so good. And he's like 6-0 in bowl games, which is like
If
wild.
you're hiring PJ Fleck, it is kind of the Buzz Williams hire. I
Yeah,
don't
we've
think
said
you
that
have
about Franklin,
it's not
but,
as
like,
much of a ticking time bomb as Buzz Williams is. But
PJ is Buzz Williams. Like he is the football equivalent of Buzz Williams.
If you're not a fan of like gosh, I don't know, man. Now that I'm picturing it, a head coach wearing a tie and a quarter zip on the sidelines at Virginia Tech just
doesn't quite fit with the culture.
He looks great in maroon though.
Yeah.
So that's a positive. I
mean,
can't have
listen,
anybody
if that,
who doesn't
if
look
that
good in
ended
maroon.
up being who we got, like I'm not poo-pooing it. Like that PJ Fleck, we could do a lot worse than PJ Fleck. And I think if you were, do you want PJ Fleck or do you want your 3rd or 4th pick of the G5 guys? I don't know.
I mean,
would you want PJ Fleck before Mullen? It's a tough call.
I mean, I do fear my thing with Mullen is he's not really interested in coaching defense at all in his programs. It's just not a thing Dan Mullen teams have done.
They've done it well enough for him to win a lot of games.
Well, they've done it at Florida where you can recruit the defense.
I mean, he won a
They
lot of
didn't really
games
do
at
it at
Mississippi
Mississippi
State too.
Yeah.
I think
a little worried.
Yeah, I think for me with Mullen, the bigger reason that you want him is quarterback. You believe that if you bring Mullen in, he's going to get a quarterback that is well above average. And that makes such a difference. So you can play a little bit worse defense because you're going to be playing a lot better offense because you've got a decent quarterback. And you can't guarantee that with almost anyone else on this list.
I'd agree. So I think now we have those 5 guys. Franklin, Mullen, 1-2, done. Then you have the 3 G5 guys. But if you were to get an outside, out of left field, how'd they get this guy? We had never heard of it. That would be PJ Fleck. Yeah. I don't know if there are many other options than him in that kind of position. You know, I don't think there's another sitting head coach that would jump ship to come to Virginia Tech, that Virginia Tech would want more than those 5 guys we listed. I think PJ Fleck's one of the only guys who fits that.
Yeah, it would have to be at a power job that Virginia Tech seems like a better opportunity, better access to the playoff, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And there aren't a lot of those. And
there
so
really
that's an interesting thought. The other name, and we'll close out, Eric Morris, who is the head coach of North Texas.
Yep.
His name hasn't come up anywhere, but I feel like it will over the next month.
He's one of those coaches that can connect himself to like an insane resume of quarterbacks. Like he can connect himself to Patrick Mahomes. He can connect himself. And what this guy, is it Drew Messmaker at North Texas? What this guy's doing is unbelievable. And this guy didn't even start games in high school. And he walked on to North Texas, and now he's lighting it up. Yeah. I mean, for me though, you would be getting a guy who would be learning on the job.
Yeah.
And that's not something I want.
Yeah, him and like a Charles Huff or a GJ Kinney, like those kind of names, which Kinney's probably cooled off a little bit.
Yeah. He and Trailer, I just don't see leaving Texas.
Yeah. And the same thing with Morris. Like he's
a Texas guy.
Texas guy for life. Anyway, let's move to our picks, dude. If you're all good with that.
I'm all good with it.
BYU at Texas Tech, biggest game of the weekend. Texas Tech 10.5 point favorites.
Big number, dude.
Why
it's
is this big number?
Big. I think part of the reason this number is so big is because BYU has been playing with its food a little bit and been winning the turnover battle, and that's what's helped them. If they don't win the turnover battle, they're not the same team. At 10.5, I think I am, for picking standpoint, I'm going to go BYU. For a money line standpoint, I'm going Red Raiders.
Yeah, it's I've picked against BYU a couple times in a row here, and it's burned me. And now I feel like Vegas is saying, "Go ahead, Pete, 10.5.
Pick them. Do it.
No, you
do it.
Pick 'em.
Do it."
I'm probably going to take BYU because that's the kind of fool I am. I'm behind the casino, and I keep I'm chasing, but like Bear Bachmeier is been so good, and like this line just seems disrespectful, like it to him and what they've done.
Give me Texas Tech. Give me Texas Tech.
Sam heard my pick. It's like I'm going the other way.
Give me Texas Tech. Yep.
UGA at Mississippi State. Mississippi State plus 7.5.
Bulldogs. They're going to get somebody. They're going to get one of these guys at home. I'm telling you.
Aren't they both Bulldogs?
Oh, shoot. You're right, dude. What's the name of the Bulldog at Mississippi State? Is it Jackson? I believe is the Bulldog at Mississippi State.
I don't know.
I think the Bulldog's name is Jackson.
And UGA, the rare road game. I feel like they never go on the road. So I kind of like Mississippi State here too. They seem due for one of these upsets. They had it against Texas and they blew it. I'll take Mississippi State with the points. Syracuse at Miami. This is in our pick'em. Only reason it's on here. 27.5 is the line. Are we going Canes?
This is one of the games where you have to like pick a score in your head and say, does that make sense? So like 35-7.
I mean, they covered against Syracuse. They covered against
roughly
Stanford.
What they did to Stanford.
Yeah.
Is this game? This game's in Coral wherever the hell they play, somewhere in South Florida.
Miami plays the railroad game. They lose and they come back home.
Give me Miami.
Yeah, I'm taking Miami too. Auburn at Vandy. Will Auburn get any kind of bump? The line's only 7.5.
Commodores.
Okay. I think I'm with you on that one. LSU at Bama. This lost a lot of the juice it had in the summertime. Bama 10.5 point favorites.
Take the whole piggy bank and put it on the Tide.
Oh.
Take your kid's college fund, put it on the Tide. Sell
what
your
would
car,
you have
put it
expected
on
this
the Tide.
line to be when it came out?
16.5.
Oh shit. Okay.
I mean, Alabama's one of the best home teams in the country. They're playing very good football. LSU just fired their coach. LSU doesn't look like a team that's super interested in scoring the ball.
No.
And that's not going to work against this Alabama defense. I think is starting to play like an Alabama defense. What they did to Vanderbilt, what they did to, Georgia, who has looked decent on offense since that game as well. Roll Tide.
I'm with you.
Or I'll put it this way. 16.5 would be the line that I would think about taking LSU. Not necessarily what I think Vegas would make the line. I thought it'd be 2 touchdowns. I'm getting 10.5. Give me Bama.
Last game, Notre Dame at Navy. This is a spot where Notre Dame has had the upper hand the last couple of times around. We thought Navy might give them a run for their money last year. Didn't happen. We thought the same thing about Army. Didn't happen. Does Notre Dame cover those 24.5?
I think so. I think we saw you had their sleepy game last week against Boston College. And yeah.
Notre Dame is playing the three schools that give them rivalry problems in BC, Navy, and Pitt back to back to back. They just did it. And that, that's something with the playoff committee rankings that I don't think got talked about enough is how bad Notre Dame looked. Like it was awful. And then they get put at 10 and Miami gets put at 18. But no one cares. Oh, they won. That's fine. They look like shit. And that's whatever. Like that's beside the point.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to cover the spread because of how badly that went. And so
I mean, Pete, you saw them putting their hats on that little ring and entering the room. You get a bunch of old white guys in a hotel conference room and you don't think Notre Dame's going to end up being top 10?
Dude,
I mean, the Pope's from Chicago, Pete. Come on.
The hat thing. Like, and not only that, you know what's funny about the hat thing is if they had done that with like a big hat rack and they had like the old school, like the fedoras, you know what I'm talking about? Or like even the Irish caps.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was freaking white baseball dad hats that they all hung up that they never have worn. And then they all hung up on the thing and
they should have worn like your actual school's hat.
Right.
And put it on there. That would have been like, okay, I get it.
I'm going neutral because I'm on this committee. I'm taking off my Virginia Tech hat. Oh, you like that? And I'm gonna put it on the rack. It was just, I know it's for like some type of historical showmanship, whatever it is, like a 1960s thing of putting your hat on the rack. Stupid. It came off.
They were all alive in the 1960s, so it makes sense.
You're not wrong about that. Justin Fuente, senior advisor to the committee. We'll leave that.
No
there.
comment.
That's gonna do it for the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed on Sons of Saturday on YouTube, to Too Deep on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and also the Sons of Saturday feed on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to catch up with everything that Billy and Pat are doing. They've got a bunch of interviews they've done recently, including with Carly Wenzel, which is a fun one. We have the Hokie Hoops pod that runs on that feed. So you want to be subscribed to both.
And I would also say on the website, sunsaturday.com, great job reporting from two of our student writers, Evan and Thomas. They're covering the men's and women's teams, respectively. We also have a former high school girls basketball coach, Mike, who is going to be writing some stuff, X's and O's, for the women's team as well. So awesome content going in on the basketball front. And of course, Ryan has been doing a great job covering the football team.
Heck yeah. Make sure you're going to sonsofsaturday.com to get all that information and to find all the posts for our podcast. And if you made it to the end of the show, why don't you do hoops? That's right, hoops. You can use a S or a Z and put it in the comments on YouTube. And until next time, go Hokies.
Go Hokies.